Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, arises from experiencing or witnessing traumatic events. It affects millions of people worldwide, leading to severe emotional and psychological distress. We will delve into the neurobiological aspects of PTSD, exploring the brain regions and neural mechanisms involved in this complex disorder. We will also discuss recent research findings that provide a deeper understanding of the biological underpinnings of PTSD symptoms. Brain regions affected by PTSD. The amygdala. The amygdala is a small, almond-shaped structure located deep within the brain. It is primarily responsible for processing emotions, particularly fear and threat detection. In individuals with PTSD, the amygdala becomes hyperactive, leading to an exaggerated fear response. This hyperactivity is a key factor in the intense emotional reactions, such as panic attacks and flashbacks, that characterize PTSD. The amygdala's heightened activity also contributes to hypervigilance, where individuals are constantly on the lookout for potential threats. The hippocampus. The hippocampus, located in the temporal lobe, plays a crucial role in memory formation and retrieval. It helps individuals distinguish between past and present experiences, allowing them to contextualize memories accurately. In PTSD, the hippocampus often exhibits reduced volume, which can impair memory function. This reduction in hippocampal volume is associated with difficulties in distinguishing between the traumatic event and the present moment, leading to intrusive memories and flashbacks. Individuals with PTSD may find themselves reliving the traumatic event as if it were happening in the present. The prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, situated at the front of the brain, is responsible for executive functions such as decision-making, impulse control, and emotional regulation. In individuals with PTSD, the prefrontal cortex often shows reduced activity. This diminished functioning impairs the brain's ability to regulate emotions and control impulsive behaviors. As a result, individuals with PTSD may struggle with anger outbursts, difficulty concentrating, and problems with planning and decision-making. The impaired functioning of the prefrontal cortex also contributes to difficulties in coping with stress and managing daily life. Neural mechanisms in PTSD. HPA axis dysregulation. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal HPA axis is a central stress response system that regulates the body's reaction to stress. In PTSD, this axis becomes dysregulated, leading to abnormal cortisol levels. Cortisol is a stress hormone that plays a critical role in the body's response to stress. Normally, cortisol levels rise in response to stress, and then return to baseline once the stressor is removed. However, in individuals with PTSD, cortisol levels may remain elevated or become blunted, leading to chronic stress and heightened arousal. This dysregulation contributes to the persistent anxiety and hypervigilance seen in PTSD. Altered neurotransmitter systems. PTSD affects various neurotransmitter systems, including serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. These neurotransmitters regulate mood, arousal, and cognition. Alterations in these systems can lead to symptoms such as depression, hypervigilance, and difficulty concentrating. For example, reduced serotonin levels are associated with increased anxiety and depressive symptoms, while dysregulated dopamine levels can affect motivation and pleasure. Norepinephrine, which is involved in the body's fight or flight response, is often elevated in individuals with PTSD, contributing to hyperarousal and heightened stress responses. Recent research has provided deeper insights into the neurobiological underpinnings of PTSD. Studies using advanced imaging techniques, such as functional MRI-fMRI and positron emission tomography, PET, have revealed structural and functional changes in the brains of individuals with PTSD. For instance, a study published in Grad Coach highlighted that PTSD affects neural connectivity, particularly between the amygdala and prefrontal cortex. Disrupted connections between these regions contribute to emotional dysregulation and difficulty managing stress. Understanding the neurobiology of PTSD is crucial for developing effective treatments. By identifying the specific brain regions and neural mechanisms involved, researchers and clinicians can better target therapies to address the root causes of PTSD symptoms. For example, therapies that focus on regulating amygdala activity, enhancing prefrontal cortex functioning, and normalizing HPA axis responses can help alleviate symptoms. Medications that target neurotransmitter systems, such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SRIs, and norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, NERICE, are commonly used to treat PTSD. The neurobiology of PTSD provides a framework for understanding the complex interplay between brain regions and neural mechanisms involved in the disorder. By gaining insights into the biological underpinnings of PTSD, we can develop more targeted and effective treatments. Continued research in this field holds promise for improving the lives of those affected by PTSD, offering hope for recovery and healing.